Hello there. I'm Avijit Sarkar, a writer, a poet, artist, cartoonist, and a musician from Sydney, Australia. Today I'm going to talk to you about my art. I started painting and drawing at a very early age, maybe when I was 3 years old. And my mother used to say, she used to boast about this, that my son started drawing and painting even before he could talk. So you might say that the skill that I have is more or less a thing by birth. It's an inborn ability. I do not really have any proper formal qualifications in art. I did complete my elementary and intermediate examinations when in my school days, years ago. After that, of course, I haven't done any formal course in art of any kind. Over the years, I have done a lot of painting and art with traditional media, like this one, oil, acrylic, mixed media, watercolor. I particularly like acrylic because it's quick for me, and I also love watercolor because it gives me the opportunity to experiment with various things. But beyond traditional art, I have migrated recently to more of or a variety or a style of art that tells a story. I'm not a very big fan of abstract art, and of late most of my works I design them so that every piece of art or drawing, painting has a story to tell. This is very much like the stories that I write. Every art I decided must tell a story, a personal story, a social story, a story of any kind. In the 80s, early 80s, I started my study of well-known illustrators and cartoonists from India, the likes of R.K. Lakshman and Mario Miranda. And I started illustrating and cartooning from that time onwards. I'm not much of a political cartoonist. I'm more of a social cartoonist. And I took to this particular art or particular style because I realized that cartooning or even illustrations, social illustrations, takes you beyond art in the traditional form. It makes you observe, it makes you think, and then you put down your thoughts about the characters, about a scene, with a touch of cynical humor on paper. And I loved it from the very first day. Today I have done countless, hundreds and hundreds of cartoons and illustrations, characters, scenarios, but not much of political stuff. It's mostly social, all social in fact. Characters are everywhere. So for drawing cartoons or caricatures, I don't need to look for a subject. I just need to look around and I see them all. Because there is an element of humor in each behavioral aspect in society. And the other fact is that you can always pick up humor from the most serious situations. And hence, cartooning is very, very close to my heart. I love doing cartoons. These days I do more of the cartoon stuff than the serious subject matters like this. Of late, I've shifted my attention to more of watercolors. trying to do architectural watercolors. That suits me, suits my mood. Quite happy doing that. Other than that, I indulge in a lot of illustrations for books that other authors have written. So I've illustrated many books for writers, poets across the world, India, the US, Canada, Australia. And I love doing that because it fires up my imagination. The way I do it, and I'm sure other illustrators do the same thing, is that I create my characters based on the descriptions produced by the author or the poet. And that is a great challenge for me because I need to really fire up my imagination in order to create the characters that the author or the poet thought about or dreamed of. And it does provide a platform for me to let my imagination run wild, if you want. I've been very lucky to have worked with well-known authors and poets, and I've illustrated many of their works. Currently working with a few very good writers, doing some illustrations and book covers and stuff like that. But still, art is something that is extremely close to my heart. Look, I do a lot of music, a lot of writing. I write poetry and prose and fiction and non-fiction. I compose music, I sing. But recently a question was asked of me that in my final days of my life, how do I want to end my creativity, my paths of creativity? And my answer is that I would definitely like to end it as an artist, as an illustrator, because that's something that's very close to my heart, will always remain very close to my heart. Thank you for listening to my story about my art and my creative avenues. Thank you.